Hi, I'm Steve,
Hey guys, I'm Ashy.
and welcome to the Lessons Podcast.
Every single week, we're bringing in guests from all walks of life to teach their biggest life lessons. Whether it's in business, family, successes, or failures, there'll be lessons that we feel give our listeners a brand new perspective.
We believe everyone's got a lesson to share, and we can't wait to share more with you.
So let's get started.
We are live.
Woohoo! Official welcome to our very first podcast episode, so episode number 1.
Lesson 1.
And we were actually going to do 2 separate episodes. One where I interview Steve on his biggest life lesson, and then he interviewed me on my biggest life lesson. And then we were on a family walk on Sunday and just chatting about it. And our lessons are really similar, just worded differently. So we thought it'd be cool just to have a little chat and bounce off each other.
Yeah, so, and let's face it, we were both pretty nervous doing it ourselves.
Actually, so nervous. For someone who's on camera all the time, podcasts, I didn't think I'd be nervous, but I am.
It's just the amount of time you need to, be engaged and talk for. You don't want to stuff up, I guess.
And we want you guys to really enjoy it. So we almost put a bit of pressure on ourselves. But at the end of the day, we're just having a chat, and we know the information that we're going to give to you and our guests we're going to bring on are going to be friggin' amazing.
I can't wait to bring on the guests. Yeah, for sure.
Sit back, relax, or put your headphones on and go for your walk, or whatever you're doing when you listen to podcasts. And I suppose let's get straight into it.
Where do you listen to podcasts first?
Walking, for sure.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. Or in the car for me as well.
Yeah, I've recently started doing it in the car, but only if they're short. Whereas a walk one, I know I can put on for a good hour and really take the information in.
Yeah.
If I start a podcast and then I have to go and do something, I won't go back to it. I'll forget about it. All right. So lesson number 1. Let me go first.
Yes.
So they are really similar, but for me, I think what's really helped shape me and help me live a more happy, calm life and be able to deal with difficult situations is having trust in the universe that everything happens at the right time and everything will work out the way it's meant to be, instead of getting stuck on what's happened and that defining me and being a victim and why is this happening to me. It's like, okay, this might be unexpected or this might be challenging, but I really feel this inner calmness in me that I trust that it's happening for a reason or for a bigger purpose. And that's really helped me get through some really tough times in the last couple of years.
So can you give us an example of where you've experienced that in your life?
Yeah, for sure.
And you've seen the, I guess, the benefits of that.
I suppose the very first time, or I didn't know it back then, but I look back, is my first breakup. Going through a breakup is so challenging, and I feel like we all go through those breakups, and when we do, especially your very first love, it's like you think the world is going to end. You think you're never going to find someone as good. What if they're the one that got away? What if I don't find anyone better? And I wish I could have told my younger self to just take a few big breaths and know that there is going to be someone out there better for the both of you, better, more suited, more connected, the same morals, the same values. Whereas now, when difficult situations happen, I don't freak out like, oh. And same when I got fired from my job. I was working in retail and they told me they didn't need me anymore. And I remember sitting in the car park of the shopping centre because I was in a clothes store, just crying and just obviously stressing about the obvious, not how am I going to pay my rent, But thank goodness I got fired, because when I got fired is when I went into study to become a personal trainer. And if I didn't have that moment, I would have stayed in my comfort zone of just working week to week in a job that I wasn't really passionate about, too scared to go and take that leap to study what I was passionate about. And look where I am now. I'm doing what I love doing. Yeah,
I can relate on the relationship one because I've had 3 or 4 long-term relationships, and you're my longest.
Woohoo!
By far. But each time that I've gone through a relationship, it's always been a really challenging breakup. It's almost like a death when you.
Well, you are grieving someone that's not there anymore.
Massive grieving, and I've been on the receiving end of a breakup, and also been the one that's broken up with someone, and both are equally hard. But being broken up with is always the hardest. And if I look at back now, that those relationships and it's enabled me to know what I want and sort of create a checklist, I guess, of what I want and what I don't want.
In the person that you want to date next.
Yeah. And I accompany a lot of those failed relationships to finding someone like yourself. And
I get what you mean. So your past girlfriend might have had certain traits that you're like, that doesn't really sit with me. So in your next partner, aka me, you were like, oh, she's got that quality.
Yeah. So I I can show gratitude for that bad relationship, because it was part of the path or part of the journey to
help you learn what you want and what you don't want to find the perfect match.
It just puts a different perspective on it and a different meaning. And I think if I went back in time and I told my younger self that, it would have saved a lot of pain.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the name of the game, I guess, is just trying to save yourself that suffering and pain, and creating a different meaning in the time, that knowing that everything's going to work out for everything's happening is right, and everything's is part of the journey.
And you might not understand it straight away. Certain challenges have happened in my life and I'm like, why is this happening? Or why is this happening to me again? I don't understand. But then a year or 2 years or 3 years later, like, you know, with your first breakup, I look back, I'm like, thank goodness I did end that relationship, because I know that it wasn't serving me. We weren't on the same page. We wanted different things. And then I met you. Yeah, we have been together for 10 years and wanted the same things. And it's worked out, you know?
Well, let me ask, was meeting myself, was I a checklist situation where I was probably things that your ex wasn't?
Yeah, definitely. I don't think consciously I understood that or thought about that, but I definitely wanted someone more mature, someone that wanted to travel and see the world, someone that was a bit more driven. Like, there's definitely qualities that I felt like I needed in a partner that he might not have had. He was a beautiful man. He was so kind. He was, you know, a really, really nice guy, but I felt like there was things missing. And at that age, at 18, I didn't know what it was. And that's why I think I fell out of love with him. But yeah, subconsciously there would have been a list for sure. Can I ask you though, because that's what mine is, what is your biggest lesson? Like, how do you say it? Because I know the way you say it is different. Can you share that with everyone?
Yeah, sure. My lesson is life happens for you, not to you.
Love that.
And it's very similar to yours, just framed in a different way. And I think if I was ever to get a tattoo on my body, besides my little Ashy and Taj tattoo.
You do have tattoos. He has two. Two on his fingers. One says Ashy, one says Taj.
I would have life happens for you, not to you.
Where would you get it tattooed though?
I don't know. It's quite a big...
across your back or something.
Yeah. But I guess for me, it's really... over the years, I've had many experiences where this has become true. And... but the main one I can think of right now is work related, and I started a company called Fit Kids with my business partner Levi, and we ran it for about 5 years, and we were in sort of 100 different schools and had over 50 trainers working for us, and we built it up to a nice solid business, and but overnight the whole business came crashing down. I still remember
that day. I'd just gotten with you. It was horrible.
Yeah, the government changed. There was a change of government, I think Liberal to Labor, and they cut the federal funding. So it was a huge moment in my life.
Literally overnight, you had no business anymore.
Yeah, and I think at the time you lost your job at the time.
The week before.
Yeah, it was like one of these big crossroads. And but what happened was I moved on to a different... because I needed some money, I started some group training because I was a personal trainer.
And you cracked open a piggy bank.
Yes, cracked open the piggy bank because we were desperate, and it was just enough to pay rent, and I had a little bit more to build a website.
We had this crazy big piggy bank. It was actually made of cement that to get it open, you had to smash it open with a hammer. And I think we had close to $900. Yep. So rent was $450, and then you used the rest to build the first website.
Yeah, and that website went on to be a huge transformation in everything that we do, and it was a clean eating diet plan, if anyone remembers that. I think we sold something like 200,000 copies in that first year, and but also there was we started a 12-week challenge, and the 12-week challenge we ended up calling the Bikini Body Challenge, and we ended up, because we had that structure of all the trainers across Australia, and they were trained up in programs, run boot camps, etc. When that opportunity came, we just were immediately in position to scale it and run it around, and we grew so quickly. But
so you had the experience from Fit Kids Australia and taken that around Australia. So when it come to the Ashy Bynes Bikini Body Challenge and us wanting to expand, you knew all the systems, you knew the formulas, you knew this is what we do and how we do it. So
yeah, and if I look at myself now, I'm so much in a better place because of that. If I was still doing Fit Kids, I wouldn't be as happy as I am now, but there was a period there at the end where I was so in a dark place. Yeah. Like it felt like I lost everything, because it was my work was everything at that stage. but I would have saved myself so much hurt and suffering if I just believed that life happens for you, not to you.
There's a reason it's happening.
Yeah, and these days I've had many experiences like that have come true because I've lived a few. I'm 39 now, so I've had bit of experience, but. And I do feel like you need to sort of experience it a few times to really believe it, like really.
Yeah.
It's nice to be able to say it, but until you actually experience it, it becomes something more. And now when I go through something, I ask it's really simple. I just ask different questions. I don't ask the questions, poor me, why is this happening to me? It's more, how's this going to serve me in the future? Where's the gift in this? There's another one too.
Yeah.
So would there be some questions that you ask yourself? Because it's all about creating a different meaning.
Yeah, really, really similar to yours. I suppose back in the day I was a victim. When I first got with you, I was massively a victim. Whereas now I ask similar questions, or how can this grow me? Why do I think this is happening? But not victim, why is this happening to me? It's like, okay, well, obviously the universe is trying to teach me something. And sometimes when the universe is trying to teach you something, it'll give you a little nudge. But if you don't learn that lesson, that same situation might be repeated and it'll push you a bit harder.
Yep.
And sometimes life pushes you so hard.
If you're not on the process where you're not using your intuition and gut and making the leap yourself, then life's going to take it into their own hands and push you out. And that's happened so many times. When there's a big, massive event, it's usually because you have been unconscious on the path, and life's actually taken it into its own hands and pushing you out.
Yeah, for sure. So I'd love to talk about, that kind of leads me on to the next subject, talk about Nick. It's a perfect example. Mm-hmm. One of our good friends, he's absolutely beautiful. If you just spend 2 minutes with him, you'll fall in love with him. He's just so caring, so passionate, so alive. He's just such a cool guy. And 2 months ago, he got the news that he'd been diagnosed with testicular cancer. So on a Friday afternoon, everyone found out. He went into surgery on the Sunday, thinking that was going to be it. And, scans came back that it had actually spread to his lymph nodes, and it was a quite aggressive cancer, and it was quite a large cancer. So he's been on chemotherapy for about 2 months now. Long story cut short, the cancer's gone down. He's fighting it, which is awesome. But I feel like, and he has even said this, that cancer is going to be one of the best things that ever happened to him, because what he thought was important to now what he feels is important is done a 360. Going through cancer, it's like, wow, if I don't have my health, I don't have anything. If I don't have my family and strong relationships and love and support. So for now, it's obviously about getting better, but then it's about having a family. It's about being really connected. It's about looking after yourself, your well-being, your mental health, making sure your body's being flooded with nutrients. Do you know what I mean? Like little things that will really shape him to be such a better person, better father one day, healthier, live a longer, happier life.
And that big nudge and that big event has really shifted.
It's forced him.
Dramatically enforced, there's something about that. Something that happens in life where if you're not aware and you're not really,
so important.
Like flow is when you're in flow, like when everything's working for you, everything's seems to be congruent with where you are. But then there's the other time when you're not in flow and everything seems hard. You seem to be pushing more than being pulled. When you're in flow, you seem to get pulled more so, and you don't have to put much energy into life. Whereas when you're not in flow, you're really struggling, and
or if you're pushing for something that doesn't feel right, you feel like you're just pushing a big boulder up a hill and you're not getting anywhere.
Whereas the downhill, over the hill, getting pulled down and everything's flowing and everything's easy. So life, I mean, no one knows, but life works in mysterious ways, you know, and there's a certain amount of unknown where those events are working for you. They're whether you think they're the worst things in the world at the time, and they are, they're horrible. But
and you're valid to feel whatever comes up for you. But
they're for a greater purpose, and that's the power of knowing, being present in the moment, and really asking yourself different questions, because there's a negative in every situation, and there's a positive in every situation. It's just choose what you want to choose. Do you want to choose? You know, there's a gift if you look for it, and there's also a negative. Pros
and cons, pain versus pleasure.
Yeah.
Another topic on itself for sure. I suppose, is there anything that's happened in your life where you've been stuck on finding the gift and going, oh, I don't understand why this is happening. I will understand one day, like you really do live and breathe that, you know, it's going to work out, but you're not quite sure why yet.
I've been through a few legal challenges where I felt wronged or felt hard done by, that sort of thing.
Yes.
But I think now I'm looking back, that shift has allowed me, opened up into so many beautiful gifts now, whether it's running my own, doing my own work, etc. Whereas I would have kept on path because I was comfortable. I think security really plays a big part in people's decision making, especially work, because you just settle, or relationship.
So you have taken the lessons from those legal battles.
It was really that I was on the wrong path, and I was so safe and certain.
So the universe was kind of like, I'm going to shake you up because this isn't the right path for you and you're not learning that yet, so I'm going to make you learn it.
And what I did wrong was I fought and resisted it. So I wasn't ready for the change, and that I should have just taken, looking back, I should have just known that was everything's happening, and don't fight it.
Just to trust it. And one way or the other, it's always going to work out in your way, but whether you get there quicker or not, by fighting it, it's just causing so much more pain, I think that's the beautiful thing about living this, trusting that the universe has your back, or trusting that things are happening for the right reasons, or that old saying, everything does happen for a reason. It really does save you, a lot of pain, but also a lot of energy, because sometimes you can just spend days or weeks or months just feeling so upset and frustrated about why this is happening. And if you just stood back and took 10 breaths and going, okay, well, this is happening, these are the cards I've been dealt, I can't control that right now. All I can control is the way I respond, the way I react, and what my next step forward is.
Well, let me ask you a question, because I've seen you go through some things that I've seen no one else go through, especially with the media and online bullying and so on. And that was a period of time over a couple of years, or maybe even 4 or 5 years, I think. And you had every right to feel like the victim, feel like life's not fair, etc. So have you found the gift out of that, or are you yet to really experience that yet?
Oh, your phone's vibrating. I could feel that on the table.
United States. That's a weird one.
That is weird. That's a really good question. Yes and no. It has taught me so much, for sure. Like, it's made me a lot stronger. It's made me very compassionate. I feel like I've had to learn and understand human psychology more and why people do the things they do. But there is moments that it is really hard, and I still don't understand why or how it can blow up so big.
Yes, but how's this going to serve you in the future?
I do believe that it's preparing me for something bigger.
Okay, that's awesome.
Yeah, I feel like there's big things to come in my future, with career, with what I do, with being a public profile, and I do have to be really prepared, and I do have to really know that not everyone's going to like what I do, and I've had to learn to be okay with that. Whereas at the start, I just was such a people pleaser. I just wanted everyone to be happy. I wanted to help everyone with their weight loss goals. I wanted everyone to feel confident within their skin. And, whether I post about an organic apple or I post about, keto or anything, there's always going to be someone that just doesn't vibe with what I say. So it's preparing me for something bigger, but it's also helping me just to be okay and be comfortable and confident in who I am. Confident in who I am and my purpose. So it's really made me go within myself to find that inner strength and confidence. So
I've definitely noticed that in you, that especially if you look at the start and now, it doesn't phase you as much when it happens, and you've sort of taken the energy out of it a lot.
Yeah, I have, haven't I?
And
that's good.
But there was times there that one thing would affect you for weeks. And I noticed a huge difference in you, that things that if there was a media blow up at the start, it would affect your energy for weeks, consume you. And these days, I think it hardly affects you at all.
No, it really doesn't. And if I see it pop up, I think that's another thing it's taught me as well, that I call it a 24-hour shitstorm, or a 24-hour thunderstorm, where I feel like it's 24 hours of like the media opening up a can of worms and giving people a platform to really say how they feel about something or someone. But if I know it's coming, I'll just turn my phone off, or I'll go invest my time into helping someone worse off, or I'll grab Taj or you and we'll go do something fun for the day. And I just don't give it energy, because all that does is hurt me and you and my family and my friends and my work. And they're just, I choose not to let that affect me, because at the end of the day, we're all responsible for how we feel.
Yeah.
And I can't control what the media does. I can't control what Daisy_88 says about me, you know, wherever she does, whoever. But I can control how I respond and how I react. And I don't choose to give it any energy anymore. Not saying that it's easy. Sometimes when you read a headline about yourself that's totally untrue, twisted, fabricated, or just clickbait, it's like, oh, really? But I definitely don't give it the energy anymore, and that's been amazing to get to this point.
Yeah, and it's been a journey for sure.
Yeah. So going off topic, not off topic, but can we rewind? Back when you were younger, there's a story you haven't really told properly to our online following, which is huge now. You had a brain aneurysm. How did that change things for you, or did it change your outlook on life and the way you thought and do things? Because that's huge. That's life and death.
Well, it definitely shaped me who I am, and it had a huge part on the path that I've chosen. And just I had a brain aneurysm when I was found out in school, and I used to have epilepsy and sort of eye seizures where I'd lose my sight.
And so, no surgeon would actually operate on you, right?
Yeah, it was the size of a golf ball, because if they operated, I'd lose my eyesight at that time. It was quite a big, was big risk, and so it was no. But the opposite to that, it was so big that it was, I could stroke at any time. So I was kind of wrapped in cotton wool for a bit. I had to quit footy.
Any contact sports? Right?
Yeah, but I still was a bit of a rebel, so I still surfed and skated and stuff. And anyway, it was about 10 years of searching and trialing to find finally someone that would operate. And I just remember I was like 4 years into uni at that time. I did physiotherapy and then the last 6 months I had the operation. And going into that operation, there was a chance that I'd lose my eyesight or die. And there was that. But I was so accustomed to risk at that time, because I've lived with something that could stroke at any time.
You almost felt lucky to live that long.
Yeah, and I guess, as you know, like you constantly call me a risk taker. Yeah. But it's not risk when you've had something, when you've dealt with something like that all the time.
As in business or whatever, you're like,
what's risk when you could stroke at any time, So that's had a big effect, and I use that risk-taking ability has really helped me in my life on other areas.
It's a positive.
It is a positive, and I do use it. But similar to Nick, after that operation, I came out of the operation. It was a 2-week period where I was blind because it was a while so the swelling went down in my head. They actually had to cut a size of a golf ball out of my brain, and as you know, that was a very deep, dark place for that 2 weeks, because I didn't know if I was going to see or not.
And mentally and emotionally would have been horrific.
Yeah, and but my sight started coming back, and that was really the point where I started living again. And I quit uni straight away because I wasn't.
So you're 4 years in with what, 1 year to go?
6 months, 2 semesters, and
brave.
But it was like, I'm not puddling in life anymore. If I don't want to do, if I don't like it, I'm not doing it, and I'm gonna carve my own path. Life's too short. Life's valuable, and that experience really shifted everything that I did. And I wasn't really on my own path. I was doing what other people thought I should do, so. From there, I joined a personal training, and I got into fitness, and and it carved a whole new path, and I owe it all to that.
Wouldn't have happened. You would have stayed comfortable in that degree.
I would have went to a safe job, worked under, and can you imagine me in a job
working for someone else?
Yes.
No.
It would have been a struggle.
How'd that affect the relationship you were in at the time?
Well, I actually broke up the relationship as well.
Why do you think that was?
I just wasn't happy, but I was settling because I had a job in there, and I had
with the family.
And there just wasn't right. She was a beautiful girl, but it just wasn't right for me. So once again, it kind of made you go, life's too short to not be 100% happy. And I love this girl, she's beautiful, but she's not the right person for me. I choose me. I choose I
love you, but I love myself too.
And just went off on my own journey, and I quit my job, I quit my relationship, and I joined a course and I had no money, no anything. I just took that huge leap. Like, it was such a scary leap that I would never have taken before. And I haven't stopped doing those leaps ever since. You know, I take big leaps in business.
Not all work out, but majority.
Yeah, no, that's right. Yeah, and that's life, you know.
And once again, that's like, if it doesn't work out, it's like, okay, well, what have I learned from this, you know?
But it's just what I know now. And, and it has worked out for me in a lot of ways. So, it's one of some of those deepest, darkest times that give you the biggest lessons in life, if you choose to see it that way.
It can be such a gift. Like, you would never think, oh, my brain aneurysm, like, how lucky am I to get that? But really, if you take the gift from it, it's like, that shaped and changed me forever, and you're so grateful for that now. And that's the thing, like, the same thing can happen to two different people, and how they choose, what meaning they choose to put on it can really shape their whole life. If they choose to be a victim and, because this happened to me, or this happened to my family, or I was brought up like this and this happened to me, like, I'm always going to be like that. I don't know any different. Or, okay, that happened. That's shit. It doesn't feel good, but I'm not going to live my life like that. I want more for myself. My standards are high. I'm going to take the lessons. How can I grow from this? How can I make my life better than what it was? Because I'm in control now. You're in the driver's seat at the end of the day.
I think if you really simplify it down, and don't matter what event happens to you, if the first question you ask yourself is, how is this going to serve me, or what is the gift in this situation? If you start with those two questions, or one of those questions, it really is a difference between happiness and not suffering. It's as simple as that, because it's so easy, so easy to go into victim. It's easy to go.
We've all done it
all the time, and it just doesn't serve you. It doesn't serve you at all.
And sometimes, I remember Katie Dean, which we'll bring her on as a guest one time.
That'd be cool.
When I was really struggling with the media thing, and I had a coaching session with her. I love having coaches. I've had plenty of different coaches, and I want to continue to have coaches. They really help me grow. But she said to me, you know what, it's okay to have your own little pity party, but don't make it your home. Don't make it your emotional home. So when this media stuff happens, or something, if someone attacks you or says something, you can feel sorry for yourself, but let's put a time limit on it. Let's have a 15-minute pity party where you're like, Have
you got it down to 15 minutes now?
Oh, it's different each time.
Yeah.
A couple of weeks ago, I did a YouTube video on a couple of events that really rocked my world. My ex committed suicide. I had Nick, our friend, that diagnosed with cancer. You were having seizures overseas, which might be another story to tell, all in a big space of time. And I didn't really give myself a time limit. I just allowed myself to feel what I'm feeling. But most of the time, if something happens, like a media clickbait headline that isn't nice, I might go, oh, this is shit. Yep. Have a vent to my friends, have a vent to you, cry about it. And then, okay, well, yep, moving on now. I'm not going to sit in that emotional home of feeling sorry for myself, because it doesn't serve me.
Yeah, well, that's a really good point. And, I think everyone can take something from that.
I think it's just a good tool to have around your belt, that it's not saying you can't feel. It's not saying that your feelings aren't validated. You're allowed to feel everything that comes up, but just make sure where you're feeling emotionally doesn't become your emotional home, because emotions are just like visitors. They come and go, they flow, they change all the time. We have thousands every single day. Don't sit in that emotional thought that's going to shape you for weeks.
Yeah, I allow myself a day usually, depending on the how serious the event is. It's always, but you definitely there is a time and place to feel those emotions and get them out. But
have a vent to your hubby or wife or friends.
Yeah, the last thing you want to do is store it and keep it inside.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Cool.
Well, that is our first.
I know, we might wrap it up.
I hope you guys got something out of it.
We are so excited to be bringing so many really, really cool and interesting guests. I'm really excited to bring our relationship coach on, probably most excited for him. I feel like he's got so much knowledge and such a cool story, and he's personally helped us so much with our relationship and you one-on-one as well.
Yeah, for sure. He's been amazing.
So he was actually a captain in the world's most powerful military, like the US Air Force. And then he went on this crazy self-discovery journey around Australia, around the world, and really learned a lot about himself. And now that's landed him to be a relationship coach. And he's incredible. Yeah, can't wait to get him on. So that's one of our first guests that we will be having on. We're also going to bring on Levi Walsh, which has been our business partner, my business partner for about 10 years now. But how long have you guys been in business for? Geez. 15 years? Yeah. A long time. So Levi is a qualified naturopath, a qualified nutritionist, a qualified personal trainer. I feel like that man has done every health, fitness, wellness, homeopathic course that there is.
And he's moved in more personal development these days too.
Yeah.
He's a DiMartini facilitator. And what else has he done? He's got a whole list of things.
Honestly, when you guys hear him talk, you'll understand why I call him Walking Google. You can ask this man any question and he'll be able to answer it. It's crazy. So you guys are really going to learn a lot off him, and not just health and fitness either, but we're really excited to bring him. Also, I'm really excited about Katie Dean. She is just one of my absolute idols in self-love and anxiety and self-growth. And Katie Dean worked for us when we had our bikini body challenges years ago. So she ran our Newcastle one for about 7 or 8 years.
Yep.
And before that, she also worked with you with Fit Kids.
Yes.
So yeah, she is a coach mainly for women. She's also written a book based around anxiety, and she's really big on social media as well. She works in our squad forum and does a lot of live chats.
Yeah, and obviously her message is all about personal growth and being happy.
Yeah, which is going to be awesome to bring her on board. So they're just a few of our guests, but we have a whiteboard in this room and it's probably got about 50 people that we are inviting to come on. And we also can't wait to speak to all of you guys.
Yeah, so we'll have each week we'll put out a link that you guys can jump on and submit a story or something that you'd like to share, and then we can get in touch via Skype, Zoom, or even a mobile phone anywhere in the world. So we'll provide that link below.
And like we said at the start, everyone's got a lesson to learn. So we're really excited to share so many of them.
Yeah.
All right, guys, we might wrap that up. But thank you so much for joining us. Like I said, make sure you subscribe. We're really excited to grow our podcast family for you guys to learn from us.
And would you the Instagram?
Oh,
we'll
yes.
put it in the handle below as well.
Definitely.
Because we're going to get everyone's feedback on there and
that's a cool way that we can interact with all of you.
Yeah.
We can comment and chat, and we might do some lives on the stories and that kind of thing. So definitely come and join our family over there too. Thanks,
cool.
guys.
See ya. Bye.
Bye. Thanks for listening, guys. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to our Lessons podcast on your favorite platform. And don't forget, if you've got a lesson to share, hit the link in the description to get in touch. See you guys next week.
See ya.